We got a phone call last week,
Yes,
was
sir.
it? And tell me about that phone call.
Man, it was just kind of crazy. So just, I guess, a little bit about us. At Remix, we're all about having fun, but making a difference as well. So we love to go into schools and churches, and even have been able to go overseas a couple times to take fun and crazy games, but then mix it with a message. And as we were kind of looking through new things to add and new things to bring to the communities around us, we were like, we found out about Archery Tag, and that's when we were like, man, this stuff is awesome. And we kind of went to John's website and saw all the great stuff and how well he was doing. But then we also kind of saw the price tag, and I got a little bit nervous. And I was like, man, I wonder if we could find something a little bit cheaper. And so kind of started searching around, found a couple other companies that had it for cheaper, and ended up kind of going for a deal. And it kind of ended up turning bad on us.
Who'd you end up with?
Action Archery, and man, I thought it was gonna be good. I didn't know a ton about it, and but when we got it, man, we sent it out and we're excited about it, and then kind of tell them what happened when they called us.
So we get our first ever event, and even before, I mean, we had people requesting the Archery Tag before we ever even purchased it. That's kind of what made us so excited about finding an Archery Tag. And so we got this knockoff brand, and we got our bows and our arrows in, and we send it out to a friend for a youth group event. First night, we get this report that nearly half of the arrows they sent us broke, and some of them they look like this. Some of them started like this. This one actually just kind of fell off at some point in the night.
It's crazy.
And we had unfortunately, our client was sitting out there with a mom with a glue gun trying to keep these things connected. So some of them, though, that was the ones that did well. The other
Some
ones,
of them like snapped on impact. So like, I mean, it's just crazy how we thought we were getting something safe, and like it wasn't safe at all.
Yeah.
So we kind of felt like our trust was broken, especially with that company, and even tried to reach out to them and say, hey, what do we do about these? They're not staying glued. And he's like, oh, we just get some glue them back on. Or I was like, what about the shaft? Like the shaft is messed up. And he's like, well, we just run over to Dick's Sporting Goods and get you another shaft. And I'm like, dang, man, like.
that was their version of customer service.
Not the best customer service.
And especially for us we want to build a company that's not just going to do well financially, not just going to rent regularly. We want all those things, but like we're more excited about our clients becoming friends than we are about our clients like continuing to make us a lot of income. And so when we see something like this, what I see is not just the potential for, first of all, like a kid getting hurt, and second of all, a client being disappointed, but like it breaks trust. Yeah. And that's the kind of thing that we're not willing to. I don't mind losing a client as much as I mind losing a friend.
Well, when you guys came up to our facility yesterday, I'll have you kind of tell about the phone call in last week and how all that played out. But tell me about the injury, the arrow. What happened with the injury? Because you did have an injury.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think it was too bad, luckily. But our youth pastor friend, he said like on impact, the arrow hit the guy's hand, like this one probably, and when it hit, it snapped, and then the end of this arrow, the sharp tip, kind of hit one of the kid's hands and kind of swelled it up a little bit. Luckily, it wasn't too bad, but the other thing that was kind of crazy, once we came up here, again, it was awesome that John, I called him, and
I was in an interview.
He was in an interview, about to hire a new guy, and luckily his wife was like, hey, I think that this is a call you need to take. And that was what was super surprising. Like immediately, we kind of felt like we were part of the family, and that they cared about us and wanted to legitimately help. Even though we had actually went with another company, he still wanted to reach out and help. And it was just kind of blown away that he was like, hey, why don't you guys actually come up to the headquarters, come up to the facilities. We'll show you how to do it and what we're all about. And man, once we got up here, like my mind was blown at how well and how many just little details that they've thought about. Everything from just like, I mean, this is another part, the knock on
This is the end of this arrow here.
on the end of the thing.
Oh, yeah.
They were just falling off, and even when it's on there, like it's kind of sharp, and like what happens when it bounces back.
And the veins are peeling off. This is one event.
Yeah, this is one event. The veins are peeling off. Like even the flex in these bows or in these arrows is like it's too loose just so many things.
And one of the things that I noticed when you guys brought, because I had them bring all their equipment up to our facility, and we've got it all laid out here. But, you know, even in looking at the bows, now, bear archery, they've been around forever. I used to shoot a bear. But the thing that I noticed, first off, is there is no knocking point on this.
Right.
You hold that for a sec. So when you go to, let me get this arrow with the knock. When you go to load this arrow on here, you know, especially for people that are new to archery, which most people are, there's no knocking point. They don't know how. There's no finger protectors here either. And trying to draw that bow back, and then on the arrow, what does it say on there about the draw weight of the bow?
Not for use with bows having greater than a 28-pound draw weight.
So we tested this bow by putting that arrow in, pulling it full draw, and it came in at 38 pounds. That's 10 pounds higher than that arrow is rated for, okay?
And that's one thing with a safe arrow, but when you have arrows that are breaking off midair and hitting children, that becomes an even greater issue.
The other thing I pointed out to these guys is look how flexible that arrow is. The reason being is because the carbon that they use in here and the shaft wall thickness is very thin. That's why it's so flexible and it breaks easily. When you compare that to our arrow, it's a stiff. This is a lot sturdier, but it's more expensive arrow because they use more carbon in it, okay, which I kind of pointed out to you guys yesterday. Again, the difference in the tips, this tip, as it gets chewed up, and that's an open cell foam, as that starts getting skinned up, it'll pick up moisture and get heavier and heavier. You're shooting that out of a 38-pound bow, you're gonna hurt somebody, okay? And we went through all of that, and you've got that sharp knock there. You got the screw-on tip.
Yeah, amazing.
And then we've got the new vane knock, which is revolutionary. You don't have issues with that. And then here's our bow, the difference. So I get this phone call from these guys, and they're telling me about buying this knockoff equipment and the issues they had about breaking half of their arrows. And so I said, I'll tell you what, why don't you guys come up here, let us meet each other, and I want to find out more about what you guys are doing with your organization. And so we gave you the deal of a lifetime. Now, we're not going to share it with those guys, okay? Because they already got burned once. I didn't want to take more of their money needlessly, but we got you guys hooked up. Do you feel like we took care of you?
Heck yeah.
Okay, good. Well, they even bought me dinner last night, all right?
Just a little thank you.
So they're new licensees of ours. They're going to be on the map, and you guys are going to be looking for them. What other things did you want to tell the audience?
Man, I think it's just being able to spend a few hours with them last night, and then today we've been able to be out here at one of their local high schools and watching them really just see an archery tag come to life, and how I think it's really going to become a big deal. But even more than that, I think it's just kind of seeing the heart of John and his wife and the rest of the people here at this company. It really just feels more like a family, and more like they want to come alongside of us, and they want to see us succeed, because they know when we succeed, that means that they're going to succeed. And so, yeah, just grace and help and thankfulness is a lot of what I see at the heart of this company.
Thank you. Yeah. What advice would you give somebody like yourself who they hear about archery tag, and a lot of people throw archery tag around as a generic term, but archery tag is our brand. What would you suggest to people like yourself who are trying to save a few bucks?
Right.
Did it really save you money in the long run, and when you consider the potential liability?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would say, like, bottom line, like, it was a risk that shouldn't have been taken, just to try to save a little bit of money. I mean, somebody could have got hurt, and I mean, luckily we only had a little small swelled up hand. And I mean, I think, again, the thing is, like, when you go with the official archery tag with John and his company, like, you're not just getting equipment, you're not just getting bows and arrows, but you're getting something that for the last 7-8 years he's thought about day and night, methodically, and like every little thing. As we were walking through their warehouse, it's just like, man, this and this and this, and even just hearing stories about how he's getting his family, even his young kids are like helping out and being like, hey, Dad, we want to be a part of this, and watch this grow. And it's a family, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I told Matt yesterday, I said, purchasing from this other company made me feel like we're nothing but like a transaction and an invoice. And then, like, you get here You feel like you're a partner and a friend. And it's like,
Well, I hope everyone feels that way. And like I told you last night, I wish I had an opportunity to spend that kind of time with every new licensee out there. And unfortunately, it's just not. But our doors are always open. Our phones are always on. When you called, you actually talked to somebody, too.
Yes, sir.
So, again, we're there to answer your phone calls, and the doors are always open. You can always come to our facility and see us in person as well, too. So we welcome you guys. And, again, I speak from the heart that there's nothing more important than providing safe equipment for people to use out there, because the last thing you want, and the last thing you want, is some kid getting hurt, because all that does is paint a bad image in their eyes of you and the sport that we work so hard to create. So, and I'm glad you guys came up so you could be part of this tournament at this school.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's
awesome.
it's been a
Thank
pleasure,
you.
guys.
Only difficult thing is watching and not being able to pick up a bow myself. I'm ready to peg somebody.
I know. Well, I know you guys are going to do really, really well because you have a good heart for what you're doing, and I'm excited to help you out in the future.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you guys for watching.